Hello everybody, this is my video in astrophysics number 13, 30, number 30. So, excuse my English. Well, as you can see, my native language is French, therefore I will try to speak the best English I can. And something else, I am not a professional translator, but I produce the best translation of my French text than I can with a translator. And something else, I have to follow a text so that I don't forget important details, and in this way I produce the best video I can then. And for those who find my video without going through my website, let me introduce myself. My name as a self-taught and multidisciplinary scientist is Gilles Lauzon-Urtubise, and I am the owner of the first human multi-intelligence.com on your left side then. As you know, the title of my video is Stars. Their training is completely different from that offered. Well, their formation, stars, their formation is completely different from that offered from the actual astrophysicists then. According my result of self-taught studies, which are largely in astrophysics and a little in chemistry of 5 years and 8 months, and during which I have managed to invent and or produce between 50 and 100 theories or more in astrophysics. These studies have led me to invent and produce a sufficient quantity of theories to successfully decode the functioning of the universe on a macroscopic scale, and to successfully explain the origin of the stars, of all stars, as well as how they form it, how they function, and the circumstances or conditions that led to one or the other of different possible deaths then. But that I will only reveal after following my pattern for my extraordinary spaceship, and more various information in astrophysics is available on my website firsthumanmultiintelligence.com then. According to a source which is nebula hypothesis, which related to a formation of stars on a French Wikipedia, and the part of the text that followed, and I'm translate from French to English, which they said, formation of stars and protoplanetary disk. Stars would form inside giant cloud of cold molecular hydrogen, which is totally false, but I keep continue. Giant molecular clouds of about 300,000 solar mass and 20 parsecs in diameter. After over million years, giant molecular clouds are likely to collapse and fragmented, which is totally false. These fragments then form small dense nuclei, which over time will form stars. The mass of these nuclei varies from a fraction up to several times that of the sun mass, and are called protostellar or protosolar nebulae. On the whole, this is completely false, and that in dispute of all the immense effort and works invested in this model to explain, among other things, the formation and the evolution of the solar system, because it is completely different from my theory of the formation of the solar system, which explain from A to Z its formation, as well as that of all the objects that compose it. So this is a further evidence of complete misunderstanding of how the universe works on a macroscopic scale on the part of all the other astrophysicists before me, because they have immense difficulty and complexity to overcome before all the other astrophysicists before me can begin to decode little by little how all the objects in the universe works, and after to then be able to start forming different theories until they become satisfactory and agree with each other. And after this, and then to be able to start producing sufficient quantities of theories that can all be complementary until they manage to explain how the universe works from A to Z, or almost until proven otherwise, so as to achieve the same level of explanation as all of my theories of my imposing mother theory of how the universe works on a macroscopic scale. Then, so for me from outside, it is very easy to understand why no one before me had any chance to achieve such an intellectual feat. And all of my theories that go into my mother theory of how the universe works on a macroscopic scale, there are none of them that can be called a theory of one or more accommodating magical thought, or accommodating mathematical magical thoughts, or any other kind of magical thinking then. Because all of my theories are based on one or more relationship of physical cause to physical effect and nothing else. In conclusion of these parts, my intellectual and humanitarian ambition and my responsibility as a multidisciplinary and self-taught scientist and humanist is to advance the knowledge of the humanity. Plus, it's form a website or a network which is used to be the best protective website in history, because it still protects all members of the society and all good person against bad person, and help bad person to become a better person, because they have so many system tools. Then it's so great, it's so genius. Then they help individual they didn't have a good comportment to change their comportment, their behavior, to become a better person then. And to protect too by furnish the best ideas, the best practice, the best behavior about protecting the environment then to each is a user of my website. Plus to help to protect all the animals and the nature, because by protecting them we are also protecting us. And a large amount of other system tools to protect the future of the humanity, to protect the peace, to protect the democracy, and which we'll use to explain from A to Z why democracy is so important to protect them. And for me, the term impossible is a term that I will never respect as long as I am sufficiently in good physical, intellectual, and mental condition. Something else, I need help to start forming a small research center in astrophysics, physics, particle physics, chemistry, and biology, and lots of other things, but that's enough for now, in a form of PPP. Okay, so for those who do not know the term PPP, it means public, it's a company, it's a structure of company which is held by public and private partnership. because thereafter I intend to buy back the government investment and ultimately becomes the sole owner of the research center. And so as for beginning, so as a slow start, that will allow me, I hope, to be able to stay in control of the investment until I can become independent enough to buy it out. So the start of my research center must begin with hiring a science writer and a volunteer group of students and one or few science professors who will serve as my review committee to help me to finalize my article, like the way then to make little correction, adjustment until all of my scientific article was finalized as perfect as possible, so that the participation of the student and professor, they would serve as training towards new notion of astrophysics, which aim to correct false notion of astrophysics. So, which aim to correct all false notion in astrophysics, or in other case, or in other cases where there is currently no astrophysical explanation for this or that phenomenon of how the universe works on a macroscopic scale. In addition, and if possible, I intend to form a scientific journal in my name, because apart from most of measurements that are made from the Earth powerful telescope relative to approximate volume of objects or other rough measurement that I accept, because all of those measurements they are made from a distance that it's so far away that for me, of course, I accept their measurement. They are a lot enough for me. So until we produce a better technology or spaceship, they can go in closer than those objects then. So, or most of because on the other side, most of the theory produced to try to partially explain the functioning of the universe on a macroscopic scale, they are erroneous or no existent theory. So I have a huge wall. So from my side, I have a huge wall of little bricks, which are all theories that fit into my imposing modern theory of how the universe works on a macroscopic scale, and which are used to explain from A to Z, or almost, the origin of all the objects of the universe, as well as their mode formation, their mode of functioning, and the circumstances or condition which led to one or the other different possible death, and plus many other things specific to each type of objects, but that I will reveal only after filing my patent for my extraordinary spaceship. On the other hand, and about a year after the start of my self-taught study in astrophysics, which began in early February 2014, when I invent without realizing it at the time, but the day after, then I realized and I invent an exceptional first-generation device that is capable of producing my first alien gravitational technology. Well, from that point on, I found it extremely fortunate that I had to continue working alone, because of the patterns that I had to continue to keep in secret, because for the last 6 years and 2 months or so, I have been forced to work alone, but now that is no longer the case, because I have completed all the parts that contain my invention in astrophysics and my invention in physical mechanics for the construction of my first generation, of my extraordinary spaceship of the first generation, as well as those of my first exceptional device of the first generation, which is capable of producing the first three extraterrestrial gravitational technology. Then, in the meantime, it may be possible for me to decide to patent my third exceptional device, which is capable of producing the 10 extraterrestrial gravitational technology, much easier for my extraordinary spaceship of the third generation. And to conclude this part, if I had been able to work for the last 6 years and 2 months with collaborators from a research center, I will have invented or produced a lot more new things. Well, so thank you for viewing my video, and welcome to see my next video, which will reveal my opinion on another pretty complex subjects in the universe. Okay, thank you, goodbye.